Alright, so this video is going to be a little bit interesting here. We're going to be playing some Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location Golden Freddy mode. So this is kind of like a post commentary kind of thing because I just kind of felt like doing it because, I don't know, it was kind of fun. And so kind of, going through my whole process on beating this and kind of what you have to do and all that stuff. I don't really know. No one probably cares, but I care. Anyways, so this one's really hard. Like, compared to the other 20 modes, you take out of all of the ones, it's not the hardest, but it's one of the hardest. And another thing I like to say about it is that it really is not luck-based, which is a very rare thing for a 20 mode in this game. There is hardly any luck in this one at all. So here I go going into this. Let's just get started. So your main strategy is going to revolve around Funtime Freddy. So he's the guy talking in the background, and my main strategy with him is you have to keep track of where he is at all times, and it's pretty hard to remember that. So what I typically do is when I hear his feet scurrying from left to right, I just kind of move my cursor over in that direction, and so that way when I hear his audio cues, I'll know which doors to close depending on if it's the door that he's on or the opposite door. And he's going to kind of be your main problem in this night. Everything kind of revolves around him. So the next kind of layer to it involves Funtime Foxy. Now, I actually made it so where Funtime Foxy never really left her cove the entire night because I checked on her frequently. The more you check on her with your cameras, the less likely she is to move. And so that's why I'm flipping the camera up and down so constantly, because she actually drains your power when she hits your door. And power is very crucial in this night, so I had to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's why I'm flipping the camera down constantly. So the only thing about flipping the camera, though, as you see, is when you flip down the camera, there's about a 30% chance that dude right there, Yendo, will spawn. And the issue with Yendo is that he pretty much drains your oxygen almost instantly. You probably have about a good 2 seconds before he kills you or drains your oxygen down all the way. So that's why it's very important to flip your camera up and down super quickly to get rid of him, or else you're pretty much dead. And this requires a lot of reaction time, and also at the same time just kind of being really aware of your surroundings. And another issue that I have is every time this bonnet right there, the little pink bunny, you have to tap her nose, and with the mini arenas in your face, it makes it a lot harder because you can't really see your mouse half the time, but it's kind of like a muscle memory thing. And as you can see, I obviously hit it every single time. I'm not gonna lie, I probably died more to Bonnet than any other animatronic in this entire night. But anyways, that's kind of the main thing. So when you move on, you're gonna see me shocking two things right here. Mini Arena 1, which drains your oxygen, and then also Electrobab. You can get it, you can time it right now, where I shock both of them at the same time. And that's really important because it saves a lot of time. And obviously you need a lot of time for this game mode. And the thing about Electrobab is that he'll always spawn in the opposite closet that Funtime Freddy's in. So kind of just keeping that in the back of your minds is something that you really need to do. And I think right around here, see, shock, and you just kind of got to follow this pattern. I also like to leave my camera on Funtime Foxy at the end of it, so obviously I can flip the camera up and down very quickly. And so that part's not too bad. Main issue I really have with that is what I'll tend to do is I'll tend to flip up my camera when Bonnet's already going across the screen, and then I'll end up not being able to click her nose in time. But that is something that you kind of just have to learn. And the whole thing about this night is all this muscle memory, really. I mean, there's a lot going on, because there's two other animatronics actually three I haven't even talked about. So first is Biddy Bab. You'll hear her, see right there in the vent in the middle. You just kind of need to listen for the audio cue of her rattling around in the vents, and you just kind of close it, then wait for a little boop again. And then we have Ballora here. We can hear her very loudly on the right hand side, and that's kind of all you do for her. She's surprisingly not that aggressive, I found, so you just kind of listen for audio cues and only close the door when she's right next to your door, because most of the time she'll just kind of back off. And you need to save all the power you can. So that's something you really need to do. And then the final animatronic is Lolbit. Just kind of the little foxy looking character on the monitors, and all you have to do is just press a couple buttons to get rid of her, or else she pops up in your screen. I think that happens a couple times here. But The main thing in this night is it's really just muscle memory. There's a lot going on, a lot of like components to it, but like what makes it at least bearable is that it's not luck based. Everything is entirely in your control for the most part, which actually makes it kind of fun. I had actually a good time playing this 20 mode, which is kind of surprising because I didn't have a good time playing any of the other ones, and I probably won't have a good time playing any of the other ones I haven't beaten yet. But this one, it's very complicated. I mean, like, there's a lot going on. This one took me, I think, around 8 hours, and there's just a lot of little moving components to it. A single mistake pretty much screws you over, and that's kind of what separates this one over from the other ones as well, because in other 20 modes, you can afford to make a small mistake. This one, you can't make any mistake, which it's kind of complemented by the fact that there's no luck, so at least you can't get screwed over necessarily. But, you know, when you're balancing stuff like Oxygen and Power and Lolbit and Bidybab and Ballora and Funtime Freddy and Yendo and Bonnet and all of these things and all compact into one thing, it is pretty hard. But I managed to get pretty consistent with it. I got to 5 a.m. like 2 times in the past hour before I beat this, so it's a very consistent thing here. And I'm actually almost done with this. I was very nervous right now, but I just have to stick to the plan. You'll hear Funtime Freddy's cue. Also, not really looking where the doors are, because you can just use your D-pad buttons to close the doors, so I don't even really need to see where the doors are. And I believe I should be almost done with it here. Just the last couple of shocks to make sure I don't run out of power. And there we go. Shift complete. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. I'll be trying to beat all the other 20 modes, hopefully upload a video on those if they're kind of interesting. I don't know, we'll have to see. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and yup.